what you can in this life, you only get one. Take action, this is life, it's a fast one. I'm alive as long as I take action. My desire is the will to live life, to have one. Stronger, smarter, faster, every day, every day. I get stronger, smarter, faster, every day, cause I won't be the last one. You do what you can in this life, you only get one. Take action, this is life, it's a fast one. I'm alive as long as I take action. My desire is the will to live life, to have one. Stronger, smarter, faster, every day, every day. I get stronger, smarter, faster, every day, cause I won't be the last one.
So this is another segment brought to you by Evolution Movement. In this episode, I'll have to survive the next 3 days and 2 nights with minimal supplies. All I'll have with me is my combat knife, my survival kit, and a garbage bag. That's it. The conditions today are very mild. The day started out just below freezing, 32 Fahrenheit, about 0 Celsius. But over the day, the sun decided to show itself, so we're giving a lot more heat. So what to expect? I can expect high snow. I can expect a lot of sinking. The snow will be soft. It won't be hard today. So it's going to be very high in some areas. Some will be shallow. It'll be very wet since there'll be more moisture in the snow. And I'll be looking to get dry a lot faster. Definitely expect some cold tonight. Light snowfall, if anything. Some rain, maybe freezing rain. So I'll definitely make a shelter for myself and a long fire. Alright, so enough of that. For the next 3 days and 2 nights, it's you and me. Let's go. It's hard to walk out here. As usual, it's what I expected. It's knee-high deep snow. It's really not pleasant. That's my knee, and that's the rest of my foot. So I don't know, just to tell you what's going on, I tucked my boots in, but the first layer of the socks that I wore, I balled up so that it created more material on my ankle so less snow could touch it. And the second layer of my sock, I tucked into my pants to make sure that no snow goes into my socks or touches my leg directly. So the clock is ticking, they count down. It's only a matter of time before my ankles get cold, so now I know you see what I see. That's a birch tree. I'm liking that. The materials from the birch bark of the birch tree can help me start my fire, so I'm going to go collect a little bit of the materials. So as long as I collect it now, I won't have to collect it later. Okay, so here we have dry strips of tree bark. And how I can tell is because of the light pink inside. If it's dark pink, it means there's water, there's too much moisture. It means it's wet. So get something else. Okay, so I'm going to keep these in a dry place until I get to camp, and I will only take them out of my pocket when I get to camp, wherever I choose that to be. So, and in a survival situation, if you find yourself lost, you'll most likely try to find your way out and pick a direction to go first. So this is something that you can do on your way through that direction in case you've picked the wrong direction and then will have to choose to camp out. At least you've already got one of the preliminaries out of the way. And especially in cold circumstances, you want to be able to set a fire at any time. So especially if you waited too long and nightfall comes and you can't see the resources that you need to go gather. So it helps. It's all stuff to keep in mind, guys. It's a lot of ducking and dodging through things. Oh, it's time to snow. Just as I expected. I saw the clouds. I knew it would get colder throughout the day. You can expect light snowfall. There's definitely a lake down there. I know you can see it. I'm going to save ice fishing for another video when I have more time. when I do a 5-day survival. It's very important to maintain your body heat in the wintertime, guys. It really is. I can't stress the importance. So, and there's a way to remember that. So through radiation, respiration, perspiration, conduction, and convection. Convection is the wind. Conduction is the things that you lean on, sit on, or touch. Radiation is like the space from your head or from your neck. And respiration is your breathing. And perspiration is your sweating or wetness. Snow's getting a bit deep here, guys. So for breathing, I can put this over my face and it warms the fabric as I breathe in and out, and I can breathe warmer air and also keep some moisture. And through radiation, I have my hat, I have a neck warmer, some gloves for conduction when I'm touching things, and from the wind is your clothes. You want to layer, have the luxury and the comfort to be able to take on and take off clothes in layers. So if you get too hot or get too cold, put some on, put some off. So you also have perspiration, which is sweating. So you don't want to sweat because it's the same thing as just getting wet. And water conducts heat away from the body more than 20 times, at least 20 times faster than air does. So you want to watch for that. Those are just little tricks, guys. Really sinks deep some areas. Some places it's knee high, but sometimes it comes up near my waist in some parts. I guess it depends where the trees shelter the ground or not. If there's clearings or if there's a lot of trees. I gotta keep moving. Alright, so what I'm gonna do here is just take a few of these dry sticks that break very easily. That's how I know that they're dry, because if they bend too much, there's too much moisture in them. And I'm going to take these and make them into pocket-sized pieces and try not to make them too sharp to make holes in my pockets. But the reason why I'm taking them now is so that if I need to make a fire right away and I'm wandering in this direction and nightfall starts to creep a little too fast than I expected, then I would want to start a fire, you know, or if I fell in the snow or if I fell in the ice, for any reason at all, you know, you want to make sure that you have something with you to be able to make fire as quickly as possible. So this is one of the preliminaries I do before I get to camp, so that by the time I get to camp, I just have to worry about making a shelter and fire and collecting enough firewood for the night. I think I'm gonna try to head down there. So since it might be a cold night or lots of snow, I'm going to try to stay off the mountainsides or the slopes and try to just stay in the dip where there's a lot more trees to protect me. Let's go. We're coming up on some deer tracks here. I'll show you. Here. They're fresh too. The trail leads right in through there. You can tell they're deer tracks too, because look at the tracks. So it's still a nice day. Probably got maybe 3-4 hours left of daylight. So I'm not quite on the tip of the mountain, I'm down in between, so I'm going to lose the light first. So I'm going to want to find a shelter spot. I went and checked out a place, and right down there seems like the perfect spot. There's a big tree. It's right down there. Let's go check it out. So I'm going to set up camp here. The reason why I chose to set up my camp here for the night is that all the resources that I'm going to need are within 100 steps in any direction of right here, which is key because I'll be able to save energy. It's hard to move in the snow out here, and saving energy is key because I won't need food as fast. The more energy that you use out here, the faster the need to replenish the energy, and the best way is with food. So The resources that I need are the spruce boughs, the pine boughs. I need some firewood of different sizes. So I need some actual trees and some branches, twigs and sticks. I'm gonna clear the snow, because I don't want to sleep on the snow. I'd rather sleep on the ground as well. I want my fire to be as close to the ground as possible, so that once I get it started and the heat starts to melt all the snow around and create a lot of water, I don't want that. So I'm gonna move all the snow so that there's less water as possible once the fire gets started, so that the snow doesn't put out the fire. And after that, it's gonna be spruce boughs to make sure, because sun's still going down, but I should have enough daylight to definitely get finished and talk to you guys a little bit in front of the fire, and hopefully get some pine needle tea going on, maybe. So I'm gonna get started. Okay, so the hardest part is out of the way. I finished clearing around the snow. I'm going to sleep here. About 3 feet away from me, I'm going to have a long fire. And I'm going to keep my firewood over there in the corner. So, first thing, step 1 is done. Now step 2, I can get firewood, store it over there, set up my fireplace, and at least get some spruce boughs to put down here, so in case night falls a little too fast, then I can at least start a fire and sleep comfortably. So, and if it snows, it'll be okay. I'll still be warm. It's not too cold right now. It still hasn't gone below freezing. My feet are wet, but not cold, and I'm still warm, which is good, because I still have some things to do. So I'm gonna go around, collect some firewood, show you how to do that, access resources without an axe, because I came with minimal supplies. All I have is my knife to work with. And you know what, while we're at it, let's see what I have to work with here for the next 3 days. Alright, I'll show you what it is that I have. This is my survival kit, and I'll show you what's in it, what I have to work with. This is my garbage bag that I told you I had to work with. And for food, instead of bringing a bag of nuts, I normally just bring one bag of nuts, sunflower seeds or almonds or cashews or something, but I brought a can of tuna, and that's it for the next 3 days, to force me to go get wild edibles and show you all about that. But as well, I can use this tin as a container, and I can boil water in it. So let's zoom in here a little bit. One combat knife, I can work with it. One can of tuna, and a survival kit. So anything like this, dead. Good way to collect firewood without an axe. Save some energy, you know? good way to get to cut and break long pieces of wood that are thick, the size of logs, is to find a Y, a split in the trees, like a fork in the tree, and then you place the pole with a sapling, the tree that you got, stick it in the middle of it, and then you bend it to one side so that it can break. And the bigger that they are, the more you want to create a break point before you do it. Looks a little something like this. Now, this looks like a little bit thick. I'm going to put my arm over, push like this. The reason for that is that if I try to push it like this and I don't break it, the resistance back, if my hand slips, I'm going to get it right in the chin. Probably knock yourself out right there on the spot. So it's very important you put your arm over. You get a good step in. That's the way you want to do that. These are burning in half. So I collected enough firewood. I've got some logs that I can put down lengthways, long ways. I've got some kindling, some thicker branches. So I'm safe for firewood for the rest of the night. I might, if daylight permits, I'll go get a little bit more. But my next priority is to go get some spruce boughs or some pine boughs to put them down on the floor. Maybe find a nice beam, a nice young sapling that has a straight pole, so that I can create a lean-to here. Alright, so let's get moving. Time is a wasting. Gonna do a lot of that. I normally like to take just 2 or 3 per tree, you know, so it doesn't hurt the trees too much. So in the summertime, if I can find trees that already fell down, I'll usually take boughs from those. But there's no maneuvering around in the snow here. So if you don't have a knife, what you can do is just bend them back on each other. So you see I have a free hand? There you go. Alright. I'm almost finished collecting all the resources, and then I can assemble the camp. But nightfall is creeping, so I want to make that fire for you guys while the day's out. I don't want to have to be forced to use matches. So I'm going to try to set that up for you guys right now, alright? Alright, so step 1, you know, is create the perimeter for the fire. You know, the basic outline of it. I put some sticks down in the middle so that the fire can start above the snow and give time to melt the snow and evaporate the water and the moisture. So I'll put a little bit more. That's the process of doing it. Just take a whole bunch over the knee, crack them, put them in there. Now, here comes what came in handy at the beginning of the trip, is I have some handy dry twigs right here, just a few. But what's really important is the tree bark that I have here. Alright, so what I want to do is strip it down to its fine layers. So see, you can peel it apart just like that, and even a little bit more. See? And just this one sheet can split even again. See how many times? But that's what I want. I want fine sheets put aside just like that. And that should light with a fire rod, a fire striker. I've done it before. No reason why I shouldn't do it today. This has been in my pocket for a few hours since the beginning of the trek, so it's nice and dry. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. And now I want to show you with flint and steel or a fire rod, just with this at Natural Materials, how to start a fire. Because I'm going to need a lot of strikes, because not only do I have to get a nice shaving that combusts well, but it has to land in the right spot and it has to hold. So I need three things to happen to sync up. Alright, getting it started. So most of that is steam. I let this fire build from the middle. It's gonna spread to the sides. I'm gonna build it on the sides, even it out. And careful about coming close to the fire when you have snow on you. Brush all the snow off of you, because as soon as you get close to the fire, it turns to water. So, and it's not gonna help you stay dry. Okay, so the fire's going. It's starting to melt the snow underneath. I'm gonna assemble the camp now. So I'm gonna put together the shelter frame, insulate it, put some spruce boughs, make myself a tripod. It's like a drying rack, so that I can dry my clothes, because before I go to sleep I want to make sure all my clothing, my boots, my socks, my first, second, and third layer are all dry before I decide to take a nap. So I should get a good night's sleep. The reason for this is because I have a long fire and I won't have to feed it for at least an hour at a time once I get it going at its peak. Right now it's just getting started. So let's get to building. So I got the long fire going. I got a rack to dry my clothes. I'm drying my hat and my t-shirt right now. I already dried off my jersey. So I need to dry one layer of pants, and a layer of socks, then the other layer of pants, and the other layer of socks. I also need to dry my boots, so when I put them on when I want to go to sleep, they're nice and dry. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's camp. Get a rack, drying clothes. So this is alright. I got a long fire. I got my rack that's drying my clothes as we speak. And I put up a lean-to shelter. Let me give you a little science behind the camp. The reason why I made a long fire is because I don't want to feed it throughout the night. That makes the difference between a good night's sleep or not. So a long fire allows it to continuously keep going while I can catch a nap. So, and it's a lot easier to maintain a long fire because you just have to add another long piece of stick versus having to chop a lot of wood for a small fire or breaking down twigs and sticks, and it's a lot of extra energy than just having a long fire and putting it here. So, and eventually it creates a nice hot bed of coals. So, and the reason why I put it there, it's about arm's length away from me, so that any sparks, I'm dealing with a lot of wood that has snow on it or moisture inside, so there's going to be a lot of crackling, a lot of popping, definitely a lot of steam, evaporation, smoke. So I want it away from me. I don't want the steam or the smoke to get into my eyes, or I don't want to smell like smoke either. So I put up a quick lean-to. It's the fastest way. Just wedge a stick up into the tree and build on top of it. So in the meantime, I've just been relaxing, just enjoying the outdoors, enjoying the wilderness. I love this stuff, man. That's what evolution movement's all about, doing all this stuff, but to a point where it affects you, Like I'm bare feet out here. I go bare feet at home all the time every once in a while. Just step outside in the snow. Just to build a tolerance, which it comes in handy for here, which builds my tolerance out here. So while my socks dry, just walk around bare feet, warm them up. If they get cold, it's okay. So it's controlled circumstances now. So I'm really tired, man. I'll tell you, there's a lot of trekking. I caught a couple cramps in my hamstring, which dropped me a couple times in the snow. So that was kind of funny, actually. But it hurt. So I'm gonna I really need to rest tonight because I'm gonna try to go up the mountain that I saw. There's a hillside, and I noticed some big rocks up there, some big boulders. So it'll be cool to check that out tomorrow morning. So day one, I'm heading in for the night. I'm gonna put a couple more logs on the fire, put my socks on, put my boots on. My boots are dry now. I'm gonna head in for the night. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Day two.